Hey guys, I'm here. We're about to dive into New Rockstar's breakdown of episode 5 of Hawkeye. It was a nuts episode. It was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen my reaction to it, check it out, especially that ending. Also, before we get into this, check out my spoiler-free review on Spider-Man No Way Home. Just posted that this morning. Watched that last night. But guys, let's go ahead and dive into this thing. If you're not subscribed to New Rockstars already, you should do so. But here we go.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of Hawkeye Episode 5, Ronin, which confirms Kingpin as the MCU's Mr. Grinch, whose heart only grows 3 sizes when he needs a rush of blood to throw a trust-a-bro truck at you. There are so many great details hidden throughout this episode with
You tried, Eric.
fascinating backstory, so let us break it all down scene by scene for everything that you might have missed. And our friends at Shortbox are giving away the first comic solo series to feature Kate Bishop. Stick around to the end of this video to learn how to enter to win.
Okay,
the episode opens with some familiar audio, all moments from the Black Widow film. The opening sound effect was the same sound of the moment the antidote spray hit Yelena and woke her up from her programming. Then Yelena explaining what that antidote is to Natasha.
It's a synthetic gas. It's a synthetic gas. The counteragent to chemical subjugation. It's antidote controlio sinazichenumna.
Then Natasha at the end of the movie handing Yelena that list of widows and the antidote.
He had widows implanted all over the world. You should be the one to tell him it's over. He had widows implanted all over the world. Yelena will need to copy the formula, but you should be the one to tell him it's over.
And then this whistle. This was how the sisters signal each other throughout the movie. But this precise whistle audio was actually Yelena at Natasha's grave in the post-credits scene. Now, this opening scene of Hawkeye Episode 5 is set in 2018, so that makes Yelena's final whistle here come in from a future moment after Natasha's death. So all of this is echoing through time. As Kang explained, time is happening all at once. Flat circle, yada yada yada. Now, the mountain landscape is so frozen over that the opening shot almost looks monochromatic, like a black and white throwback to an older era, but also a hint to monochromatic dust that Yelena will soon transform in and out of. This mountain range also kind of looks like Sokovia. Age of Ultron did use the real-life Aosta Valley in the Italian Alps. Their target, Anna, could have profited from the chaos in that region following the Avengers battle there. Yelena is back in her white tactical gear that she was wearing at the end of Black Widow, but she's got a new vest since she gave her old one to Natasha. She's joined by a fellow Widow, Sonya, who's not in Black Widow. And the music in these opening moments and really throughout the episode is Lauren Balfe's Black Widow score. Anna flings a tea plate at Yelena. Yelena does not even flinch as it zips past her face, and then Anna throws some CGI tea at Sonya, but the antidote is ineffective.
I don't think she was brainwashed.
What, you thought I was some rich pervert's prisoner?
She's referring to Dreykov, who creepily programmed his widows, but also telling us that Anna was totally aware that Dreykov was doing that to the other widows. Of course, this being 2018 should have been a clue to you that this would either be post-snap or snap imminent, confirmed as Yelena goes into the bathroom and finds water running through her disintegrating hands. And it's such an affecting sequence.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
And Birdie unfold in 60 seconds of unbroken camera movement, recalling the similar chaos of Monica Rambeau's Blip return in WandaVision. But they're super clever with the blocking if you look closely. Yelena shuts the door on her way in, but somehow the camera glides in with her without getting bumped by the door. And then on the other side of the blip, the door is now back open, as it would be
is it
5 years later.
Is it going through her fingers or just
but I think
through her fingers, between her fingers?
And sold
hard
it
to
being
tell.
there with that shutting door sound effect, all to pull this off as a private moment while still allowing for more fluid camera movement. Because by doing this all in one take, it plants us inside of Yelena's point of view, showing us how for Snap victims, this was
catching.
a quick,
It was catching in her hands.
confusing transition. They didn't even black out or faint. For them, time passed instantaneously, and their world around them shifted. And unlike the characters we saw dust in Infinity War, Yelena
that was a really
doesn't
good
seem to
effect.
feel it happening. Maybe since she is always living with a sense of unease and physiological detachment. And then even after Yelena completes her own dust transition, from her perspective, the surfaces of the bathroom, the color color of the walls, the mirror frame, the light fixtures, all warp but on a delay. It's such an interesting way to show the passage of time in this instant, with reality reconfiguring piecemeal, also evoking the way reality warps due to Wanda Maximoff's witchcraft and Venom's transference into the MCU. This all just feels like Reality Stone-based reality manipulation. This in the MCU is what it looks like when characters are transported in and out of reality. I like how Anna's new daughter plays on a little Schroeder piano beside her husband, and Anna says they adopted, which is a painful reminder that these widow assassins are unable to bear children from forced hysterectomies. Also, maybe this girl could have been an orphan from parents who dusted. If so, that would be a bummer custody battle. I like how Anna remains about that mercenary life, because despite all the little family cosmetic changes she's made to the home, she still keeps up that mural that depicts a boar hunt, meaning that in her heart, she is still a hunter, as Yelena still feels she must be. Kate Bishop returns to her childhood bedroom, which I gotta say, despite being destroyed along with the rest of that house in 2012, now looks to be fully reassembled and left this way for Kate. Kate
the
now
Hawkeye
has a
poster.
Hawkeye poster on her wall, and Eleanor tells her,
It just means that what you do might look a little different than you dreamed of as a child. And preferably a little less reckless.
I never wanted to be reckless. I just wanted to help you.
I know, hun. Recklessness is the unfortunate side effect.
just another example of how Eleanor groomed her daughter to expose her to danger. This is not a normal mother-daughter relationship. Similarly, based on lies, is the relationship between Kazi and Maya. Kazi nurses her wounds the same way Eleanor did Kate's. These are the scars from Yelena's widow's bites that latched onto Maya's chest last episode. Kazi, though, only wants Maya to stop pursuing the Ronin to keep his betrayal of her father a secret. Meanwhile, Yelena finds Kate back at her home.
Hi.
I love
Mac
that.
and cheese. Mac and cheese
I love
being
that
Yelena's
hi
dinner
she
pick when she
gives.
was a kid in Black Widow.
I want mac and cheese.
Oh, you want mac and cheese? Okay, well.
But we have to wonder if Yelena ever really intended to heat it up with all that sriracha. She might have just dumped it all on after Kate threw it at her, like some kind of Hot Ones alpha mind games. Whatever you throw at me, I drink it up. Yelena wears a similar yellow and black outfit that she wore in the Black Widow post-credit scene, and once again, she has a number of pins on her lapel. In this scene, you can see a spider, maybe for her Black Widow history, finger guns, maybe a nod to her wrist-based widow bites, and a Margarito glass, cause the girl drinks. And she tells Kate,
I'm not going to hurt you. I promise. I don't have any weapons on me. Okay, I take that back. I don't have any weapons currently in my hands. That's a lie also.
yeah, Yelena is totally playing games from the moment their interaction begins. She knows that rolling up her sleeves, she's gonna reveal to Kate her widow's bites, and that's because this old friendly chat is really an interrogation in order to threaten Kate and to learn Clint's location. But Yelena takes her time. She says,
Come on, take a fork, eat. Eat, please. My daddy says it's good for you.
of course referring to the big appetite of Alexei Shostakov, who forced her and Natasha to dine with them in order to make peace. And then Yelena tells Kate,
Well, it's my first time in New York, but I do want to see some things. I want to see the Empire State Building, the new and improved Statue of Liberty, and the Rockefeller Center.
the new and improved Statue of Liberty, of course referring to the remodeled Lady Liberty that we see in Spider-Man No Way Home, with a giant Captain America shield and her green oxidation restored to her original copper color. With the Rogers the Musical billboard in the No Way Home promo clip, Marvel Studios wants to make it clear that these events are in the same city in the same era of MCU history. She also mentions Rockefeller Center, reminding us that the finale episode will take place at 30 Rock, the Nakatomi Tower, in this die-hard homage. Then Yelena gushes about Christmas.
I love American Christmases. The tree, the presents, the super-powered reindeer, Rudolph. He's so weird. Have you ever eaten reindeer?
Yeah, again, Yelena is playing nice, but to her, remember, Christmas is a dark lie. As we learn in Black Widow, their spy family would stage opening empty Christmas presents for fake family photos and home movies. But for young Yelena, she bought into that lie and it was real to her. And then Yelena begins to show her cards.
Sometimes you're funny, Kate Bishop.
Do you keep saying my whole name just to point out that you know it?
Yes. I know a lot about you.
Yeah, this interrogation is so well structured. It's a lot like Hans Landa wearing down that farmer in Inglourious Bastards. The pleasantries lead to the hunter's reputation.
that's a good-
and then the
that's a
hunter
good
having actually
comparison.
done their homework until finally the hunter just lays it all out.
Are you in New York to talk to Clint? Is that why you're here?
No. I'm here to kill him.
And then Yelena finally arrives at the one question she really only needs to ask Kate.
So? Where is he?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yes, after all that lecturing Kate about how we are defined by our
Such a
actions,
good
not by
scene,
flashy
man.
words like
God,
hero or
I love
Avenger,
it.
Lauren Balfe's Black Widow theme returns here, framing both of these women as soon-to-be deconstructed versions of the heroes that they once worshipped. Meanwhile, Clint does the walk of shame that I did after getting Mephisto wrong. Grills lets Clint crash with him.
Missy dropped off the new outfits for you and Kate. You want to see them?
Yeah, Missy is
My
that
God, his
leader
voice,
from
man.
past episodes. It sounds like she stitched some
So
new
deep.
matching suits for Clint and Kate that will get revealed in next week's finale. Meanwhile, Eleanor called the cops on Jack, it seems. These are detectives Cottle and Rivera. We actually saw Detective Cottle back in episode 2. He doesn't seem to be like a fake actor that Eleanor hired. This guy really seems to be a legit cop. In the comics, both these characters are LAPD detectives. But as Jack gets cuffed, he says,
I'm telling you, the only Sloan I've ever known was this woman I dated in Palm Beach, and she was an absolute nightmare.
yeah, it's hard to get a read on exactly what's going on here because it does seem like Jack is putting on some kind of performance. Like this is all set up so that Jack would be taken away the moment Kate walked in through the door.
Oh, it's
And it
all
seems like
staged.
it was a show
It's a play.
to temporarily stop Kate from pursuing this investigation in order to give Eleanor and it sounds
Easy.
like Kingpin some time to frame Clint/Ronin for killing Armand, at which point they could send in some lawyers in order to get Jack out of that tax issue and move on with business as usual. Of course, that plan gets ruined when Kate sees a photo of her mom with Kingpin. So Clint visits a Battle in New York memorial that's on the bridge that leads to Grand Central in Pershing Square. This is the exact spot where the 6 of them first teamed up in the iconic circle shot in Avengers. And Clint removes his hearing aid when he talks to Natasha in order to silence the world around him, which is so sweet when you consider all the other times that he silenced everything on the series. Now we know so that he could be alone with his thoughts about Natasha. And he tells her,
You always had to win, didn't you? And for a stupid orange rock.
of course, referring to the Soul Stone, which she won, sacrificing herself to acquire that left Clint 1 second holding Natasha in his hand to the next second holding this stupid orange rock in his hand. He also says,
I've replayed that a million times in my head, hoping for a different outcome.
recalling how Doctor Strange played through over 14 million different outcomes, but only one victorious one that still required the sacrifice of a fellow Avenger. Now, among Kate's trophies and medals in her room is a photo of her and her father Derek hiking, reminding us that there's still a mystery to that guy that we have yet to know. Also a boomerang, which might be why she suggested boomerang arrows to Clint last week. Then on our bulletin board is a magazine page of Clint with the words hero worship, and then on the left a ticket for the Bishop Security holiday party December 24th, 2024, again setting the stage for the climax in the finale. Then the tracksuits Ivan and Tomas listen to some holiday jams.
Run DMC's classic tracks. Classic.
This is Run DMC's Christmas in Hollis. And it's another homage to Die Hard when Argyle plays it while driving McClane to Nakatomi Plaza.
Any Christmas music?
I've never seen Die Hard.
Christmas music.
Tomas runs through some other famous tracksuit wearers in pop culture. Tommy Smith was the Olympic track runner who gave the Black Power salute at the '68 games. He also mentions the Royal Tenenbaums, referring to Ben Stiller and his 2 kids in the Wes Anderson film. And of course, Tony Soprano. Hey, forget about it. And this is me totally reading into the wordplay here, but they debate whether or not they themselves are Royal Tenenbaums. And in German, Tannenbaum is Christmas tree. And in episode 3, we saw a bunch of Christmas trees getting stuck to these bozos. So not intentional. I just like seeing patterns where patterns don't exist. Clint calls his wife.
At least he called it out that time.
Into our family.
Clint, we've been so careful, really. I mean, the kids and I are so far away.
If I don't end this tonight, it's just a matter of time before the big guy gets involved.
Jesus. Are you sure?
Yeah, still no firm answers on what exactly that Avengers Rolex is all about. It could be linked with Nick Fury and have a Skrull asset list, as I've speculated, or it could be the property of Phil Coulson, who did wear Rolexes, as we've seen in past films, and this show could confirm as him still being alive, which would officially canonize Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the main MCU, along with these Netflix Marvel characters. But ultimately, it does sound like the Bartons are in some kind of government relocation program, and that Laura was also also part of that life.
That's
of
still where
spycraft,
Elaine,
so
and
it's
I
still possible
still think
that she
it's
could be
linked to
an
her.
ex-Mockingbird, but we'll find out next week. Clint lures Maya to the Fat Man used car lot, the same auto shop where he killed her father, and notice how the camera focuses on that Fat Man part of the sign. Another reminder that the tracksuits probably named this front after their boss. Maya and Clint fight. She throws a bullet clip at him. I love that. Each time the sword strikes her prosthetic leg, it makes a nice ping sound. No LARPer Foley art is necessary. Clint reveals that he was the Ronin who killed her father after he was tipped off by an informant in their ranks that was approved by their boss, aka Uncle, aka Kingpin. And he says that both of them are really weapons being manipulated by bigger power players in the shadows. And as Maya leaves, the neon sign shines used as she must feel in
that's
this
a
moment.
good
Kate
detail.
calls her Uber for their
Damn.
getaway.
Hey,
Cinema.
It's unrelated, but Tabitha was the name of Mr. Harrington's wife who faked her dusting to leave him. One of my favorite random subplots in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I guess you could see this as a kind of name for MCU women trying to flee under false pretenses. Maya suspects Cassie as that informant who tipped off the Ronin and led to William's death, but she doesn't act on it yet. Maya's gonna kill Kazi! Kate tells Clint,
I spoke to her. She said she's Natasha's sister.
Yelena.
Interesting. So while Natasha's past with her spy family was a total secret to pretty much everyone, she did tell Clint about her, which makes sense considering she knew about his secret family. I just like knowing how much these two characters knew about each other and loved each other. And then after they get dropped off, Clint gives Kate an arrow. Remember, Eleanor gave Kate her first bow, and now Clint gives her the arrow. I think that was the one that she used to knock the sword out of Maya's hands in order to save his life, making this a kind of token that their mentor-apprentice relationship is restored. Yelena tails Eleanor to this fancy building. Now, just to be clear, this is not Lot Palace Hotel where Eleanor's charity event was held in episode 1, which was the same location as Kingpin's presidential hotel residence in Daredevil season 3. We don't know what this building is yet, but notice that Yelena looks up at the building and seems to register something about it, meaning this might be the MCU's Fisk Tower. Now, we are still waiting to see who Avengers Tower was sold to. Tom Holland signaled that he knew who, but I have not yet seen Spider-Man No Way Home yet, so I cannot confirm anything about that. But by the time you're watching it, I may actually be in the movie theater watching it. So we'll know soon. But Yelena texts Kate that she knows who hired her to kill Clint, and that was Eleanor Bishop, confirming that Val must work for Eleanor, and that Eleanor's partner in crime all this time has been...
Well, that's the guy I've been worried about this whole time. Kingpin.
Boom! Are you looking for Fisk? Yes, that sure is Vincent D'Onofrio wearing a white jacket and sporting a cane. The episode's credits credit Vincent D'Onofrio, who also tweeted confirmation quoting his "When I was a boy" line from the Netflix Daredevil series. As we suspected, based on the many clues, the laugh, the cufflinks, Uncle is
that laugh,
indeed
man.
Kingpin Wilson Fisk.
I knew
Kingpin
it.
is, of course, the recurring Marvel villain to Spider-Man to Daredevil to many New York-based characters. And really, there is no limit to what upcoming MCU titles he could now appear in. Most likely Echo, but perhaps also Armor Wars or Secret Invasion. I'm seeing No Way Home soon,
She-Hulk.
so who knows? Maybe there too. Kevin Feige also confirmed Charlie Cox Daredevil would be joining the MCU from the Netflix side of the universe as well. In the past, the Netflix shows would occasionally reference the MCU in the Battle of New York, but until now, the official MCU titles never once referenced the Netflix world or characters. I'm not sure if D'Onofrio Kingpin's arrival means every Netflix Marvel character is automatically MCU canon, since I doubt Disney Plus would want to tell all their viewers to spend hours and hours catching up on seasons of storylines on their rival Netflix, even though you totally should because those shows are pretty great. Rather, we may be looking at a kind of soft reboot,
especially
in which these
Daredevil.
versions of Wilson Fisk and Matt Murdock are really variants in this universe, the MCU, separate from the characters we were left with at the end of Daredevil
that's
season
what
3 on Netflix.
they've
They're
alluded
still
to
essentially
anyway.
the same characters with the same relationships, just with a slightly altered history that, in this case, ties Kingpin to the tracksuits back in 2007 and gives him some history with Ronin and Clint during the Blip. I go into all this in another video, you should check it out. But then the credits go into Thurl Ravenscroft's classic, "You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch," which is perfect for a lonely jerk who glares down at us from his tower. It's also the kind of winky villain theme that recalls the tone of "It's been Agatha all along." But it also indicates that there may yet be a heart in there. 2 sizes too small, buried under all that bulk. A heart that belongs to Vanessa.
Yes. Door!
The final shot of the credit
door
sequence now
murder.
includes the massive silhouette of Kingpin looming over Clint and Kate in the city, casting him as the literal big bad that towers over the MCU now. This is the same kind of image Loki left us with Kang, and that Eternals left us with the Celestials, or even just a shape in the sky. Always there, always watching like the Watcher. Somehow, of all of these characters, Kingpin has me the most terrified. And we are partnering with Shortbox to give away a 9.8 rated copy of
Hey guys, head over there. Get this, see if you can get that comic if you're interested at all. But guys, awesome breakdown as usual. This was just a fun episode in general. Just again, the hype to build up to who is Uncle, who is the man above it all, the big guy. I always love to speculate, but I also did not want to give in to the hype and just like with WandaVision, I never really gave in to the hype at all. I had fun with the speculation and all that stuff, but I was never really disappointed by the absence of anything. But this is one of those cases because of how deeply involved and close I got with the Daredevil series, particularly his rendition of Kingpin and Charlie Cox's version of Daredevil, or just their performances in general. I got really invested in that show, and I was like, please. I'd survive if it wasn't, but I would have been disappointed in the long run, considering the other puzzle pieces that they've been setting up, like Echo, She-Hulk, the lawyer side of things. It's like, come on, just give it. Especially with this run. But yeah, it was off. That laugh, I was like, I recognize this laugh. But even then, I was still doubting myself the whole time. Even in the reaction when he popped up, I was like, is it? That's a blurry ass camera photo. I don't know. It's the shape, but I don't know. And then I was waiting for the credits. I was like, please be in the credits. And there he was in the credits by name before Alaqua Cox, surprisingly enough. And then that backdrop over the logo as it fades into the black credits. Just a great episode overall. Florence Pugh knocking it out of the park as always. She is easily rising into the ranks of one of my favorite working actresses today, man. Easy. She's so good. And just the way she plays this character, she's so fun in the way that she's doing these serious things, like that interrogation, the way she played into it, the way she's got this natural charisma. She has that weird, quirky attitude about her, but when it comes down to doing the serious business, she does the serious business. I just like that, and I'm playing into everything. Again, adding more layers to Hawkeye, to Clint, his relationship with not just Natasha, but what he's developed with Kate, the connections he's made with the LARPers, with Grills, to how trusting and deep his relationship is with his wife. Just I've been really loving this show, man. I really have been. I like what they've done for it, and it's definitely made me love and appreciate Clint way more. He's probably easily in my top 10 MCU characters now, where he was probably nowhere near that before. But I'm loving it. Ba-da-da-da-da. I'm loving it. Anyway, what did you think of this breakdown? What did you think of this episode of Hawkeye? Sound off the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. You can also join us in our Discord. Links down on my socials down below. Before we go, I want to shout out our channel legends: Mandy Sherrod, Jason Coleman, Philly Vane, Yori Korskov, Margaret Grace, Mary Bradley, Jeffrey Hale, and various abominations. Thank you guys so much for your continued support and everybody who's been tuning in, supporting these videos. But that's it for this one. I'll see you guys next week with the finale of Hawkeye. Take care, everybody.